Well, here's a issue I've been getting around to finally, the clearance with the shock. Let's see here, the shock is not all the way up. If I lift this up even just a little bit, you can see that get the clearance, the shock comes up into the thing there. Thing is, when it's all the way down, you know, it's pushing the shock all the way to the back here, and there's still quite a bit of room left to the bump stop. So basically what I'm going to have to do is either bend or grind out a little bit of this area here. And I think for now I'm going to just bend it. I'm kind of hoping, I'd like to leave as much metal as possible. So if I can take maybe a ball peen hammer or a bar and bend that down just a little bit and get enough clearance, mo better. Push come to shove, if I have to, I'll cut a little bit out, but I'm trying to keep it to where the ball joints, or the upper control arms rather, can be owner modified. I don't really want to have to get into welding reinforcements back on and stuff like that, so hopefully I won't have to clearance this much. Alright, I took a look at it. I didn't, being lazy, I didn't really want to take the upper control arm off, so I grabbed a pair of vice grips, and at the point where I marked, I started just grabbing and bending. And so the vice grips are basically set about metal thickness, and I'm grabbing the point of the tip of the vice grip is up ½ inch, 5/8 of an inch. And so I started in the middle, and then I'm going to each side here, and basically, you know, I'm forcing the arm down with one hand and bending it with the pliers. So I've got a fairly nice bend there. It's fairly it's coming out fairly smooth and everything. And I'll just do a little bit more here, because that is taking a bit of grunt to do that, though. Might be easier to take the arm off and do that. Might be easier too to grab it down closer to the lip. Alright, let's a couple more here. Alright, just kind of massaging that around a little bit. Let's see if I can get this off the tripod here without too much grief. Okay, so that's what we've got now. Granted, this is sitting further down and everything, but that way we didn't lose any metal. We didn't cut any metal off. Didn't do any grinding. And just going from the assumption that mass equals strength, as long as we keep the mass, you know, we should basically keep most of the strength there. So let's see. Let's throw a couple bolts back in it here if we can. Oh man, you gotta fight the gas charge and the shock. I really need to find a blown out shock to test with instead of using a brand new one. Oh man. Alright. Got that one started. Got that one started. Sweet. Okay. So I am down hard on the bump stop. The shock is in the center there, and it is actually up. That's nice. Okay. Need to do just a little bit more. I've got about a 1/16 of an inch clearance there, and I definitely want more, because if this arm goes down further, it hits. So, but I kind of like that. That's an easy enough modification that guys will be able to do that to their arms, and I don't think it's going to affect the strength or anything like that. You know, all the load on this thing is in and up and down and that kind of stuff. You know, that'll basically be up to the installer or the owner. You know, if you don't like that, the modification, bending that around for clearance, you're more than welcome to cut it and weld it up and all that kind of stuff. Do whatever you want to do, because I'm not looking to supply the upper arms in any way, at least not at this point. So let me clearance that a little bit more, and then I think I'll bolt the top here and stuff like that, and check the actual range of motion with it. Alright, I was trying to find a angle where I could do some of this. I went ahead and took it off the frame. I noticed it was getting a little rough around here, and I thought, okay, well, let me put it up on the bench or whatever and hit it with a hammer and stuff. Well, hitting it with the hammer, I didn't use a very big ball peen, and it didn't really want to move the metal at all. And it's kind of hard to be real accurate and stuff like that. I was also afraid if I used any bigger of a hammer that I might, you know, damage whatever else was supporting the weight. So I thought, okay, well, let me see about bending it on the bench here. And so basically what I'm looking to do is I'm using a little bit bigger pair of vice grips, so maybe I don't have to grunt quite so hard. And I'm just, if you move too much at one time, you're going to start ripping the metal a little bit there, as I've kind of done. But you know, hey, this is all trial and error. Oh. And some of the damage in here is just the teeth. If I had a smooth pair of vice grips, it would certainly be better. Now let's just turn that a bit. That might make it a little easier. So I think you might be able to see now that it's just kind of moving the metal around there a little bit for me. I'm not trying to take big drastic measurements or movements, because I don't want it to look too jagged and sharp edged or anything like that. I can come back in later and clean this up with a die grinder, sanding wheel, that kind of stuff. So it will be a little bit of work massaging that around, and I am getting just a small tear in here. So like I said, if that's a big concern for you kind of thing, figure out another way to do it. I know that I can always hit this with the welder and that stuff after I'm done cleaning it up if I got a rip there or whatever, and you may not need to move it quite that much. So let me hit that with a wire wheel and get back. All right, so couple little tears here. That's more just the metal being moved around from the jaws and stuff like that. Looks like there's one right there. It's not, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's put a little extra light on it there. So there's definitely other ways I would rather do it. You know, and like I said, I can clean this up for my stuff. The question is, I really, at this point, don't want to build custom control arms for this project, and I don't want to have to go to the scrapyard and dig out a bunch of these 720 arms, and I don't want to have customers, I don't want to have anybody sending me the arms to modify, kind of thing. So because that's just going to add cost to the money and stuff like that. So we'll see as it progresses. Maybe with the other arm, maybe I'll try something just a little bit different. Grinding that lip off certainly would have been easier, but I kind of wanted to see if there was a way to do it without losing any of the metal. So we'll see. I'm going to go put it back on the frame now and start checking clearances again. Okay, so checking the thing, the clearance and the range of motion. Now it's touching right now because I have the bump stop taken out there. Okay, I did that because I wanted to make sure that the arm and everything would go down further and the shock was not pulling out of the hole here. So I put a mark down here so I can get an eyeball when I put the bump stop back in where it's at. But if I measure this from the top of the shock body, I am 5 inches and 1/16 to the underside. Okay, and I can push down here on a little bit, but I'm hitting the shock body here, but there's only about a 1/4 inch there. So let me, whoa, sorry about that, make everybody nauseous. Let's, oh man. Okay, bump stops in. Wait for the shock to come all the way up into the hole here. Okay, that's up in. Yeah, it looks like 3/16 of an inch or so. So from the top, yeah, 3/16 of an inch. Yeah, I'm at 4 7/8 to the bottom now. And there's without the bump stop in, when it was down touching the body, it was still pushing up. Okay, so we're more than 3/16 of an inch from the bottom of the shock reaching its full extension. Okay, and I can even put a good bit of weight on here. I mean, me leaning on it's nothing like the the car and some of the other factors, but we're going to have 2 bump stops in here, so as much as I can compress this now, it'll only go half that later. And if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see, and we're about out of battery again. Let me just lean that up a little bit. See, we've got there's a good solid 1/8 of an inch in there of clearance to the shock body. So that bump stop works. That works with the shock. Let me set up at a slightly different angle here, and we'll lift it up and check that clearance. And I'll change the battery. Alright, I'm not going to be able to watch 2 things at once here and lift this. So I'm going to lift it all the way up and see. I've done this once, and if I remember right, it hits the bottom bump stop a good 1/2 inch before we get up here. Oh man, I need a blown out shock. Oh jeez. Okay, I'm up against the bump stop, and you guys don't have a great view on that. Let me, there we go. Okay, so I'm up against the bottom bump stop. That's how much we got left there. So there's definitely, oh geez Louise, there's definitely some room there for squish on that bump stop and still get clearance. Now, if anybody's going lower than stock ride height, these will have to get turned upside down and flipped to the other side, which should create quite a bit of clearance anyway, because then the arm is actually going to be up here above the shock body. But we're good to go on stock ride height. And that's one more piece to the puzzle pretty much solved. So okay, yeah, if you guys got any feedback on the bending of that arm there or whatever, let me know. Let me know, because I can, like I said, I can weld a wire or plate anything I want on mine, kind of thing. But I wonder how the other users are going to be feel about that. So yeah, let me know.